You talk about the darkness. You know, people that have never been underground don't know what dark is.
On April 25, 2006, at the Beaconsfield gold mine in Tasmania, Australia, 17 miners started their work shift. At 9:26 p.m., a tremor shook the mine, signaling trouble. A 2.3 magnitude earthquake hit, causing 2 major collapses at the working site. Alarms sounded throughout the mine, alerting staff and emergency services to a significant shaft collapse about 1,000 meters deep. A quick roll call revealed 3 miners missing, leading to an urgent rescue mission. The 3 miners, 37-year-old Brant Webb, 34-year-old Todd Russell, and 44-year-old Larry Knight, were working the night shift deep within the Beaconsfield mine, around 925 meters underground. Todd and Brant were in a telehandler's central basket, a machine combining crane and forklift functions, while Larry operated it. As Todd took a water break, a tremor hit, plunging them into darkness. In a remarkable turn of events, Brant and Todd found themselves trapped in the cage, narrowly avoiding death with 800 tons of rock overhead. Their space was tight, only 1.5 by 1.2 meters, limiting movement. Todd was partially buried under debris, immobilized by the weight on his legs. Brant, knocked out initially, woke up to this harsh reality. In the crushing darkness, with the constant threat of more collapses, they worked to free Todd from the rubble. Illuminated by a lighter, the trapped miners, Brant Webb and Todd Russell, faced their situation. Buried nearly a kilometer beneath the Earth's surface, they were cut off from the outside world, without communication, fresh water, and with only a granola bar for sustenance. They were uncertain about rescue. As news of the disaster spread, it captivated the public, turning the incident into a media spectacle. The intense scrutiny led mine personnel to erect tarpaulins around the fences to block the view. The media frenzy, with the constant buzz of helicopters, began to interfere with mine operations, including rescue strategy meetings. The day after the collapse, around 4:45 p.m., the mine's response team set up a remote-controlled earth mover with cameras and sent it into the mine. That evening, they started removing debris from the first rockfall deep in the mine, about 925 meters down. In the early morning of April 27th at 7:22 a.m., during the search, the camera-equipped machine discovered a body on a rock stockpile. The deceased's identity was unclear at first. By 8 p.m. that evening, the body was retrieved and identified as Larry Paul Knight, the telehandler operator. The search for Todd and Brant continued despite huge challenges. The rescuers hit a barrier of rubble blocking their way beyond the telehandler. Facing this challenge, on April 29th, the team began to blast a new tunnel, which involved detonating explosives to cut through the hard rock. Brant Webb and Todd Russell turned their work helmets into makeshift water collectors, catching the sparse drips from the rocks above. However, the water was barely enough and likely contaminated, posing health risks. They also had just one muesli bar, which Brant had brought. They decided to delay eating it as long as possible, but hunger forced them to share it on April 29th. For the first 5 days after the collapse, they survived on minimal food and murky water. Todd's situation was critical due to severe leg injuries needing immediate care, while Brant, despite being in slightly better condition, had suffered a concussion during the collapse. To ease the psychological strain, Todd and Brant found comfort in singing Kenny Rogers' "The Gambler" together, the only song they both knew. On the evening of April 30th, a crucial event took place deep in the Beaconsfield mine. The rescue team, making their way through the rubble, thought they heard faint singing near the rockfall. Rescuers yelled out towards the singing, and astonishingly they heard shouting back in response. When asked what they needed most urgently, the 2 miners shouted back, "Get us the F out of here!" The discovery that Todd and Brant were alive sparked widespread joy, not only in Beaconsfield but across Australia. For 5 long days, hope had been fading, but now, against all odds, there was a reason to celebrate. For safety reasons, the rescue operation shifted from explosives to precision work. the team began drilling a smaller targeted hole through 14.5 meters of rock to reach Todd and Brant. They installed a PVC pipe in this drilled passage to deliver essential supplies like fresh water, food, and communication devices directly to the metal cage sheltering the miners. Despite the grim circumstances, Todd and Brant maintained their sense of humor, jokingly comparing their predicament to staying in a 2-star hotel with themselves as the 2 stars. They even asked for a newspaper. When asked why, they responded by saying it was to look for a new job. When Brant Webb and Todd Russell asked about their colleague Larry Knight, they were met with the devastating news of his death. In a touching act of solidarity and respect, Larry Knight's family, amidst their own sorrow, decided to postpone his funeral, ensuring that Larry's 2 colleagues could attend. As the rescue mission advanced, the team encountered the challenging task of cutting through rock 5 times harder than concrete. Crucial to this phase were the insights from Brant and Todd. They were given a digital camera to take pictures of their cramped environment. These images were sent back to the rescue team, providing essential visual information that influenced the strategy for safely removing them from the debris. The rescue effort by drilling was put off on the 1st of May due to the risk of another collapse. The team decided to use a raise borer, a machine that excavates a vertical hole between 2 levels in a mine, eliminating the need for explosives. The raise borer works by turning rock into small pebbles and dust. This method, though slower, was considered much safer than blasting or drilling, as it reduced the chance of further destabilizing the mine. The drilling of a 20-centimeter pilot hole for the raise borer began at about 6:45 p.m. Theoretically, the drill could go through about 1 meter of rock every hour, but the actual speed was much slower. Extreme caution slowed the pace to less than half the expected rate, to avoid any actions that could cause more rockfalls, prioritizing safety in the operation. On May 4th, at about 8 p.m., the drilling for the rescue tunnel started, following the route of the earlier pilot hole, aiming to reach just below the cage holding Brant Webb and Todd Russell. By the morning of May 6th, the raise borer had drilled about 11 meters into the tunnel, finishing most of the drilling by 6 p.m. that day, with only a few meters left to the miners. The team then spent hours removing the boring equipment to prepare for the last crucial phase. When jackhammers proved ineffective, the rescuers turned to low-impact explosives to make further progress. By the evening of May 8th, they believed they were right below the miners. The next task was to drill upward probes to confirm their exact position before starting the final vertical passage. A probe reached just below the miners, showing only a meter of rock separated them from rescue. After 321 hours underground, the rescue occurred on May 9th. Brant Webb was first freed at 4:47 a.m. and Todd Russell at 4:54 a.m. They were taken to a medical station within the mine by 5:30 a.m. for a quick health check, then brought to the surface, concluding their intense ordeal. At 5:58 a.m., in an emotional scene, Todd and Brant exited the mine lift, celebrating with their fists in the air. After removing their tags to mark the end of their shift, they were welcomed by their overjoyed families and friends. Then they were taken to Launceston General Hospital for medical treatments. Shortly after their rescue, they attended Larry Knight's funeral. While their rescue brought joy, there was also sadness for Larry Knight's family. After the celebrations, focus shifted to the cause of the collapse. On May 15, 2006, an investigation by the Australian Workers' Union revealed none of the miners at the Beaconsfield collapse had received proper safety training. The materials used, like cement, were of poor quality or improperly used, and the mesh meant to prevent rockfalls was known to be ineffective. Despite these safety issues, no charges were filed. Todd Russell and Brant Webb's physical recovery was swift, but the psychological impact remains, even after 18 years. Following the disaster, both chose voluntary redundancy from the mine. Todd became a fire brigade chief, and Brant went into property maintenance. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked what you saw, be sure to check out the other great content on our channel. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to bring you more. Thank you again, and see you in the next video.